and commercial clients in areas like AI, cybersecurity, and advanced engineering. His leadership roots run deep. Served 8 years in the Army as an officer and then co-founded MAG Aerospace, helping grow it into one of the nation's top ISR and defense companies. Today, he's steering NexTech through a new era of innovation and expansion right into Huntsville, Alabama. JP's impact doesn't stop in business. He's also on the front lines of change, serving on the advisory board for Skull Games, an organization fighting human trafficking through open intel sources, and on the board of Land Trust of North Alabama, protecting the places and people that make our communities thrive. Please welcome me and joining JP Paull. Welcome, sir. Did I get it off?
That was pretty good. You have to send me that write up, will you?
Yeah, I only charge a nickel a word, so it won't be very expensive. That's an easy one.
That works.
Cool. Hey, I'll get started. So, I mean, tell me, how did your time in the military, as an officer, shape the leader that you are now in a very different world?
I mean, it was foundational. I think all of us, everybody on this call. Actually, it was funny. I just, Veterans Day a couple days ago, and sent a message to my folks. And we get that a lot of like, thank you for your service, and which is very much appreciated. But it's kind of more. I'm thankful to have served because I think I got so much out of the military, and particularly leadership. I mean, there is no better place to learn leadership versus just management on earth. I mean, it's the best place to develop those skill sets that you can take on into the business world and be more than just a manager, because you can definitely tell the difference between leaders and managers.
So, what made you decide to make the jump over to the civ sector?
It ended up just kind of being a timing thing. In 2004, I was kind of on the edge of staying in. If I'd have stayed in another 2 years and took another assignment, I would have probably gone the full 20. And it just,
Yeah, halfway.
an old Delta Sergeant Major handed me a card and said, "Call these guys." So I did, and I was like, "You can do that outside of the military?" And he's like, "Yep." And I'm like, "Okay." So I went and started with Triple Canopy when they first started up over in Iraq. Which was a interesting, chaotic, learning experience.
Yeah, it was all new at that point. We're like, we got to figure this out because, everything was different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was a company that went from nothing to 85 million in a year, with mostly all military guys and not a ton of business expertise to back it up. So we did a lot of discovery learning, so trial and error, but obviously worked out very well.
Yeah. So, I mean, from going from Triple Canopy, did you do that and then go right into building MAG Aerospace, or was there a spot in between?
No, actually, I've had kind of a weird, I mean, I've gotten to see kind of businesses at all different levels in a fairly short amount of time. So I went from Triple Canopy, which was essentially a startup that exploded overnight because of all the security services required in Iraq. And I think after a couple of years of that, my wife was like, "Yeah, you keep doing that, and you just do that by yourself." So I was like, I need to find something slightly more stable and less chaotic. So I ended up working for a company called Task, which was kind of a high-end intelligence company. Worked with the IC customer primarily, and then that company was bought by Northrop Grumman. So I got to see kind of go from a startup to a very refined, highly developed mid-tier size company to Globotron,
Yeah.
Northrop Grumman. And then after several years at Northrop working their counter narco-terrorism program, running that, I ended up starting MAG Aerospace with Joe Fluitt in 2009.
Cool. Um, what do you think? What do you think the hardest thing was in that transition? I mean, it seems like Triple Canopy was kind of an easy transition. You're doing a lot of the same stuff, but at some point you had to kind of put that rhythm behind. How did that go?
I mean, I've been pretty fortunate. I kind of never really felt like I ever got out of the military because everybody I work with is primarily military. That's been, an easy transition. But I think the biggest thing is I had literally I never took a business class ever. Uh, was learning the business side of it, learning the contracts, all the different facets of the defense contracting industry. And some guys that I came out with were like, it's stupid. I don't want to learn that. I don't want to know about pricing. I don't want to know about HR. And it's just like, no, you want to be as well-rounded as humanly possible. So getting a chance to learn all the different pieces that make our industry run, that was, huge, and very important to be able to understand the total picture of what we do. So don't pigeonhole yourself into something. And it's also, as things change and contracts move and budgets change, it's the folks that are multidimensional and understand, across industry that will survive and thrive versus folks that are like, this is all I know how to do, and if my contract's gone, then I'm gone.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially with the uptick in 1099 type contract work we've seen the last couple of years. If you're,
I mean, to be honest, at Triple Canopy, there was just phenomenal, legends in that company, and I spent most of my time with the one guy who was the contracts guy, who actually knew what he was doing from a business standpoint. Because I'm like, I know nothing of what I'm doing, so please teach me. So just trying to get that on the job training, as fast as I can, pick it up, put it into practice, I think was important.
well, what was the hardest thing on that to wrap your head around?
Uh, I'm not sure there was anything that was it was just different, and different clients, different cultures. I went from you know now Department of War to working directly with Department of State customers, and understanding their culture was interesting. And I screwed it up multiple times and took some pretty good ass chewings from my CEO there. Melted my face a few times because I didn't quite understand how the etiquette. So, and it's different between, and between Department of State, Department of Justice, the IC. Everybody's got their own culture, their own language, their own acronyms, and being able to move seamlessly between those, is highly valuable if you can get the exposure and then adapt.
Learning the politics at Department of State. I mean that's what it is it's that political language, whereas the Department of War is the failure of political language.
Just different thought process, which coming out, I get left as a fairly senior captain, but I wasn't that polished, let's put it that way. So I needed a lot of polishing.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you were at the tip of the spear doing that work. That's not known for refining your courtesies.
Yeah.
Not so much. Um, what would be your advice to somebody entering business coming from this background? What do you think their first priority should be when they show up for their first day of work?
I think the first thing is to figure out what you want to do, what kind of first exposure do you want, and that kind of depends on the kind of person you are. Do you want to sit inside the machine, with a lot of structure and a lot of guidance? Then I'd say push them to more towards the bigger companies that have that process, that have that procedure, that have the structure in place. Or if you like a little more chaos and the jack of all trades, and you kind of choose your own adventure, then take your chances, go to a smaller company where you're going to see over your cubicle. You're going to touch a lot of different things. Or and there's a lot of folks on this call probably like, I'm just going to do it myself, and choose an entrepreneurial path, which I've been lucky. I gotten to kind of do see all those different looks. But I think that the biggest thing is to come in, understand what you're getting into, and then have a plan.
Yeah.
Be organized, and understand what you're getting into, and and your long-term plan may definitely change, but at least have that 1 to 2 year plan of where you're trying to go and what you're trying to get out of the experience.
Well, speaking of the entrepreneurial thing, what drove you to help create Mag Aerospace? What was the impetus there to throw it on the line? Because that's no small deal.
My partner definitely pushed me. I was not like he drove me a lot more than I drove him. He was much more the entrepreneurial spirit. Uh, we like I said, we did stuff in Afghanistan together. He wanted to start something. He needed a really he was kind of the up and out guy, and I was the inside guy, the down and in
The
that
lieutenant.
ran things, kept all the trains running on time and everything. So, and I was actually wasn't too when we first talked about it. Uh, I was like, I think I'm doing pretty good with this Northrop thing. I think I'm okay. But I did get sick of, that's one thing. You're working for these large companies. You're putting in, a ridiculous amount of time. You're putting your ass on the line, and you're bringing in hundreds of millions of dollars for these companies, and you're not seeing the rewards. So it was kind of at the end of the day, that's what kind of it's like, you know what, if I'm gonna work this hard and do this kind of stuff, then I'm gonna do this for myself, and at
Especially
least
when you're looking at all that work and some shareholder sat at his computer in his basement is collecting on you. It's
well,
a
or
tough
worse,
pill.
the BD guy at corporate who registered it into the system, who's making six figures for doing nothing.
Yeah.
So
Click, click, click. No, I'm rich.
yeah, so
Wish
that
I
but that
could do
kind, I
that.
mean, but it was. I'm glad it ended up that way. It was a great ride. We learned a ton, and fortunately now I'm getting a chance to do this again and hopefully do it better.
Well, and now you're going on the second time. So how do you maintain mission focus while trying to, scale from startup to enterprise? That's got to be tough because you've got so many cogs turning at once.
For us, we were very focused. That was one thing we did pretty well was we knew exactly where we were trying to go and the customers that we wanted to serve. So we were able to stay very focused on our, what did we want to be? We wanted to be the premier ISR operational company out there, which took us on a very direct path of contracts and opportunities. And once we had kind of cracked the code, and obviously a huge team. I mean, it's about the team you build. You guys as leaders, as you're coming out of the military. I mean, it's never just you. It's always about, can I put really smart people get even smarter people to work with. And so, but we had put together a phenomenal team at MAG, operational team at MAG, and we were able to replicate, fairly very large contract transitions, one after the other, hundreds of people within 30 days without dropping a mission, and then perform at a much higher level just because of uh, the group of folks that we had. So we were able to. It was a repeatable process that we created that allowed us to scale.
Yeah, it's a smart way to do it. So, I mean, between Mag and NexTech, I imagine you must have had some experiences or key decisions that shaped your leadership policy. Can you share any of those?
Oh God, there's a lot of lessons learned.
No shortage.
I actually did, and I would never do this because I hate podcasts and all. No offense to podcasts, and obviously we're doing a virtual thing here, but I did one with a friend who's an entrepreneur and started a company called Failing Daily, and it was an apt title
Mhm.
for it, but yeah, I mean, there's so many experiences, hard to sum up anything that was just like there was just one. Uh, but I think that the biggest thing is, what we learned in the military, which is, lead by example, always lead from the front, respect. I mean, for me, my biggest pet peeve is time, like respecting people's time like that. I don't care who it is. I'm going to be there on time. I'm going to give you the time that we talked about. And that's, one of my little things.
No, totally get it. Because yeah, I mean, we all got Lombardi time hammered into our heads the day we got off the bus. So it's kind of hard not to respect that. And something I say is that, it's the most valuable thing we have is time. It's the only thing you can't buy.
Yep.
Just about anything else you can buy or affect in some sense with money, but not time. Tim's got a question. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for coming to talk with us. I'm in Tampa, and you guys have an office outside of McDill.
Yep.
Uh, I'm from the little bit that I've seen, most of the jobs are fairly technical in the technology realm. A little bit about me: I'm a Air Force combat controller, so served my career in AVSOC, doing that kind of stuff, and I'm looking more so for project management. Do you guys have any roles like that, or are they all more on the IT side?
I would say the majority of positions that we have there, we call that facility Pinewood. It's on Pinewood Street, but it used to be the old Soft University. But the majority of what we do in there is we're taking the different Soft 18L PEOs. Basically, every PEO is in there doing something or other, but we're taking their program of record technology and then making sure it's interoperable. We do have, from MAG, our population of MSOs was heavy combat controller, heavy JTAC. We always found that skill. You guys had a very interesting skill set, between comms and technology and tactics. You were able to put it all together. So we recruited you guys heavily. We are doing some work over at Hurlburt with AFSOC, and this is with some of their BFT programs. But no, I encourage you to apply. We do have general project management. We have a couple programs that are more on the say platform technology side, where it's more general project management. So yeah, I would encourage you to apply. You don't have to be no offense to anybody, you don't have to be a cyber nerd or any of that kind of stuff. There's
Yep, I'm a
roles.
knuckle dragger, so I'm just trying to be honest.
Trust me, I coming into I'm like total knuckle dragger. So I mean, it's fun. I'm still learning every day because this company's much more technical than my last one.
Thank you.
Cool. Hey, Chris, go ahead.
Hey, how's it going? Chris
Great.
here. Hey, I just heard you mention Herbie. I'm in Crestview, Florida. I'm near Herbert Field. I don't know if you're familiar with that area.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm open to just about anything, man. I have like such a breadth of experience. And in terms of vacancies, you guys have any vacancies currently in Herbie that you guys are looking to fill?
I'd have to check with HR. I don't believe so. Right now, I think that program is full, but please check our website for all the available stuff. And then as like nowadays, a lot of things are remote. There are some positions where you got to be at the location, but a lot of things are remote as well.
Yeah, appreciate that. I'll take a look, and I'm open to on-site and remote. It doesn't have to be remote, but I appreciate that.
Yep.
Hey, speaking of the technology stuff and remote. So I mean, how do you see defense and tech sections or sectors evolving with AI and cybersecurity? I mean, what do you see happening from your position? Because I mean, a lot of this stuff is really intertwined.
It is, but I don't think AI is the end all be all. I think it's a super useful tool. Some folks are like, oh, AI is going to replace this, AI is going to replace that. That's not really what we're seeing. We're seeing more like people who know how to manipulate AI and know how to maximize AI are replacing other people. And just because of some of the classified networks and DCSA protocols. I mean, there are only so much they'll let AI get into on that side of the house. I mean, usually where we see it, like one of the things we're developing is we do a lot of OSINT tool work. So, is using AI to help. I hate the word synergy, but I'm going to use it anyway to synergize data from different OSINT tools to basically help the analyst get to where they want to go.
It's interesting. Yeah, because I wouldn't let AI into my system if it had national defense stuff in it, that's for sure. Speaking of which, I mean, what role does NexTech play in shaping the future of national security? Can you just, for the folks who haven't seen, kind of talk about what it is?
I'd say that our biggest impact, like I said, is really playing within SOCOM, and this is, there's a lot of systems out there, and actually one of the reasons I even got back, I kind of retired in 21 after Afghanistan, and then just went to the board at MAG and wasn't really sure if I was going to do something again. And my previous one of the private equity companies I had worked with previously was like, hey, you should meet these guys. At least come in and tell them we're good dudes. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. No problem. So I went and I met two of the founders were leaving from NexTech, two were staying, and the two that were staying, we really hit it off. But one of the things that really resonated with me was their software that they had developed called Paull, and I'm not a ones and zeros guy. I'm not a technical guy, but when they explained to me what it does, which was provision technology at the edge, at the tactical edge, I was like, okay, now I can relate to this, because how many times have I humped 80 pounds of shit and I get it there and I can't make it work? I would like, this is the kind of software that activates edge technology. So basically, I can take a highly complex system out there, press a green button, it sets everything up, makes it work. So that's what kind of, interested me. And I was like, okay, I think I can do this software thing. But so we're having a lot of that's where we've really focused our energies, is helping that end user, at the tactical edge, activate and maximize the technology that they've got. So that's working with a bunch of different OEMs for communications gear, server gear, handheld devices. So between the edge and then making sure that these program of record technologies that SOCOM and other folks like Department of State are using out there, it's making sure that they'll talk to each other. Because I'm sure you guys, how many times have you had, well, this system won't talk to this system, or I can't take this from the low side up to the high side. It's actually activating the technology so that you can use it.
Yeah, every damn day.
I mean, that was, and like I said, if you're not that technical, and you shouldn't need, you shouldn't have a problem that, like, hey, we can't fix it, and it's going to take us 72 hours to fly an FSR out here to do it. Like, that's
too late.
So
yeah, if you have to wait 72 hours, it's too late. It's gone.
exactly.
So I mean, with those innovations, how do you kind of keep pushing innovation with like the strict overhead government, regulations? You can't do this, 2 years of testing, all that. I mean, how do you push that stuff out? It's got to be tough.
I think that they've started to. I don't know. Everybody's watching the news. They're actually, they're trying to change the acquisition process. They're being a little more open. They're pushing authorities down. And for us, it's really getting in there with the end users at different exercises, and also our facility being right there next to MacDill, we got them in our clutches to be able to okay, let's do it. Let's do it right here in this environment and show you that, because we do a lot of ATO work as well. So let's show you how this is safe to be on your network. Because obviously there's a ton of controls anytime you're talking about technology, but it's showing them the value of, like, hey, this was taking you 2 weeks to set this up previously, and usually 3 to 4 guys worth of labor, and we can have one guy do this in 28 minutes now. But and really, he's not actually doing anything for 28 minutes. He might actually have maybe 5 minutes of actual, like, typing on the computer. Otherwise, he's just waiting for things to boot and run through its cycles. But it's automating and activating the technology, and when they see that, they're willing to push ahead, because it's a huge money savings, it's time savings, and there's only so many 50-pound brains they can spare to do that kind of stuff.
So, like, what kind of folks, can kind of get into that business now? Like, say, working for a company like what you've got going on. What kind of folks do you usually see? Like, oh, I didn't think about that, but he or she is going to be a great fit for this. So, something that somebody might not think. Well, I wasn't a snake eater. I didn't do ISR work, but they'd be a good fit. Just something to open up their mind towards different avenues.
I see a lot of folks that have developed, they've got some basic skill, on the IT side, IT skill sets, and then they've gone on and acquired, done some of their own certifications. We push certifications on our folks. We pay for certifications. Less worried about, formal education degrees. more looking at, are you progressing technically? Our combat controller over there, we find, because they've touched so much comms gear, so much hardware, they've got the skill sets to kind of leap across, because it's not just having the hardcore, being a hardcore coder to do software development. You've also got to have the experience of, okay, how does this relate to the guy on the ground? How am I activating the technology for this person? And that, we do that with SOCOM. We do that with Department of State's Diplomatic Security Services, all their OCONUS guys. We're doing that with DHS, with both Border Patrol, Secret Service, inside FBI with DOJ. So yeah, can you relate to those end users?
Yeah, can you share any success stories from those agencies you worked at that may have hit the news? Like, hey, that was us who found that kind of a thing, or is that off?
I'm trying to think. If it was MAG, we used to do a lot of that stuff. I guess one of the companies, so we've done quite a few acquisitions. Like we're doing all the BFTs for everybody at the border. Both for National Guard, CBP. Like, our folks had to rush out to the LA, LA when they deployed the National Guard to LA. So we're doing quite a lot of real world stuff. We're doing a lot of stuff in Southcom right now. I'm not going to talk about. So say the Caribbean's getting very crowded.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's also got a lot of boat bits floating around.
Which is funny because they're making a big deal about it, but we've been doing that for a long time. I mean, we haven't been blowing them up with Hellfires, but we've been shooting them with miniguns since the late, well, gosh, even before that, into the late 90s, into the 2000s. So it's not that new, but there's definitely a lot more attention and many, many more assets down there right now.
Well, I think, not to get off in that bent, but a lot of that's just to deter, because if more people know, like, hey, you get in that boat, best of luck, get good with God,
Yep.
Whereas a lot of people probably didn't know that before, unless it was word of mouth, and nobody's going to come back and tell you.
No, they're not.
So, I mean, where do you see NexTech Solutions kind of driving into the future of national security innovation?
We're really, one thing I did not do, my previous company, we didn't do product. We primarily focused on overseas services, because that's what we knew, and we were really good at it, both on the manned and unmanned side of the ISR spectrum. And we always kind of like, I don't want to jump into product. It's going to detract too much from what we're doing. But with NexTech, we're really leaning into product. In fact, I would say we're divesting ourselves of a lot of services. Now we do what we call solutions, where it's kind of a sticky product that comes with some complementary services. But we said really pushing software development on the edge. And this is both in, system provisioning, video, on the PTL, TTL side. Like right now we're redoing State Departments. They've got about 40,000 users across the world for a system called Scry. It's unclassified, but this is it's on your phone. If you're a diplomat or connected to the mission over there, anytime if you get in trouble, boom, you hit your panic button and it tells everybody where you're at. So we're updating that. So really just pushing further into software and these kind of at the tactical edge, solutions for folks.
Using an app as a beacon. I mean, you'd think like, oh, why didn't we think about that a long time ago? Yeah. It's all there. But on another note, talk to me about Skull Games. I mean, how'd you get involved with them? And its mission to fight trafficking.
Yeah, so we do a lot of OSINT tool management for our customers. Skull Games uses a lot of OSINT tools, so it was a good connection. Jeff Teagues, I knew him from the military, kind of not tangentially. We had a lot of mutual friends, and so they had done one event with NexTech prior to me coming in August of 2023. We met up, and I was like, okay, this time around, like, and we did a lot of philanthropic stuff at MAG, and but I always thought it was kind of scattered. No, and I was like, I would like to, once try to like throw basically all my philanthropic energy from the company into one thing and see how much of an impact we could have. So they had just broken off from a larger, what do you call it, nonprofit organization. So they, really needed some oomph in the beginning. So, by using our facilities for free to do some of these larger hunts. And when I say hunts, they're bringing in 70, 80 volunteer OSINT analysts, and then they're just crashing on, whatever law enforcement agencies they're working with their caseload, which is, most law enforcement agencies get no help from an analyst side. So you're getting 80 experienced, primarily DoD, previous DoD SOCOM type analysts. I mean, they go through, get a lot done for these guys in a short amount of time. And so, it started out just kind of supporting them with facilities and some smaller donations. Now we've upped that quite a bit. We're doing multiple events a year with them. They're doing, monthly events. They've expanded into doing actually working directly with law enforcement agencies with state grants. So it's been a huge boon over the last 2 years. And to me, there's a lot of groups out there that are doing great things like that in the anti-human trafficking genre. But what I like about Skull Games is that they're making cases. They're actually making usable cases that we can put guys in jail versus just it's a great thing to go recover somebody who's trafficked, but a lot of times those guys are using technology that's not submissive. You can't submit in court. It's stuff you guys I'm sure know about from what we used to use overseas. So this is a little more, in conjunction, more well coordinated with the law enforcement folks, and their metrics speak for themselves. I mean, they're making a huge impact.
So, I mean, what kind of folks do they look for to come over? Is it like a regular job, or is it, hey, I'm going to volunteer my time to help with trafficking?
They have a small group of full-time folks, but it's primarily volunteers who will come in for these quarterly hunts. And like I said, at this point, they're doing monthly sting operations, multiple monthly sting operations with different law enforcement groups.
That sounds, that's some tough work, but it's incredibly rewarding, I bet. Because there's people in bad situations out there, and the talent's here. It's just how to get it there, if it's of interest. So I mean, how did you first get involved with it? It was just like, hey, they just gave you a call and said, hey, you guys have some stuff, we need some help.
Now, they actually were previously involved with NexTech before I got there. It was kind of like first time they did an event with them down in Tampa, and I met with them after that and just really liked their mission, their philosophy. And like for me, it's about metrics. If I'm going to spend my time and money with a nonprofit, I want to see what I'm getting for it, because I think there's not that there's, I'm not picking on any nonprofits, but a lot of times you're like, okay, where am I really getting here? And, how much are you paying your executive director and all that kind of stuff? And here I could really see where the money was going, and, you're seeing results.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming out where, charities out there, only like 3% actually goes to,
Yep.
That just bombshell just hit. And it's like, oh, 97% of the cancer fund for this was pay.
Yeah.
So that's awesome that you're keeping an eye on that, because it happens pretty quick to a lot of places with the best intentions. I mean, how do you balance like doing the tech company stuff with that, or is it just kind of a natural carryover, that kind of work?
I think it's just got a natural carryover. I go to the events when it makes sense, when I can link up with them. We have board events where we're talking, strategic level stuff. But the biggest thing for them is helping them financially, helping them with exposure, helping them with access to facilities. So that's something I can do without really detracting from the mission.
Yeah, and it's you already have it all there. So it's not like it's costing you a bunch of money out of pocket on that side. So, I mean, when you have all these folks, and jump over topics. So when you have all these folks coming up to you and looking for positions and applying and all that, I know you probably don't see it as much as HR, as HR does, but what are some of the things you see, like people applying that are killing it, and other guys where it's like, hey, he'd do a great job, but man, he screwed it up by the numbers. I mean, is there certain themes that you're seeing or events that you're hearing about where, hey, I didn't want to hire that guy, but I did, and he was great. Just stuff to help these folks refine their attack.
About where they're
About
look. I
applying.
think that some folks, and I believe like are most of the folks here are already out, or are they like?
So they're on SkillBridge now.
Say again.
They're on SkillBridge now.
Okay, so they're on SkillBridge now, that's an awesome opportunity, because I mean, we've had 3 SkillBridge folks and brought 2 of them on. So I mean, that's an awesome opportunity if you can find that right company. And even if it doesn't work out, it's excellent experience to kind of bridge your time from, hey, I'm coming out of the military to, hey, I want to get into the contract or get into the commercial world. And I mean, I can speak mainly for our industry, and I'm sure there's a ton of people on here like, I'm good, I don't want anything, are going a completely different direction, which is totally fine. But I guess what I used to see was a lot of people like trying to shape their opportunity kind of too early, like way out ahead. And it's like, at least in our world, it's 90 days is about as far as you can look, unless you have a perpetual type, evergreen contract that's always yielding positions, and you're always trying to ingest new folks. But I think for us right now, it's really less on the education stuff. It's way more on the technical certifications, and what have you done on your own to improve yourself. We'll definitely keep improving you, but want to see that you've already started that self-improvement on your own. PMP, something I'm always looking for. Like I'll take a PMP over a master's degree any day.
Yeah, because that person's actually done work.
Yeah. So, and because there's a lot more involved in getting it than getting your master's. But and it's interviewing well, being able to kind of read the room, talk about yourself without bragging about yourself, that kind of stuff.
Do you see a lot of the, well, my team did this instead of I did that? I mean, in a case like yours, we're often told like, hey, you need to talk about what you've done, not your team. But doing what you do, it sounds like it might be a little different. Is that true?
I'm interested to hear what you did as part of your team, but that you can work as a team. And depending if you were a leader, I mean, I think, like I said, I feel like my skill sets are low, but I seem to be able to put together good teams of people who perform at a very high level. So kind of depends where they're coming in at, and what they're interviewing for.
So folks coming in, where do you see their need for growth? So you get somebody in there and looking down the line at the future, what areas are you saying, hey, you should educate yourself in this, you should grow in this, just so these folks, anybody here who's kind of doing something adjacent, they go, oh, they can get kind of ahead of it.
I'll speak very specifically to my industry, but like for me, it was I went in through project management, kind of the general managing, and what I see is a lot of folks would focus too much just on the technical side, the technical scope of the project that they were looking at, and not enough. Like, this is one thing we put a lot of time into our PMs, who, especially our technical PMs, to understand their contract, understand the business, understand the finances, because it's not just about the mission. It's about the mission, but you got to make money while you're doing it. Like, the scariest thing I ever heard was, walked into, and this was right when I came into NTS, was like, it's a firm fixed price. We don't have to worry about the cost. And I'm like, no. no, that's exactly opposite and wrong. You 100% have to worry about your costs. So just basic understanding of the finances, and it's not complex. I mean, if I learned it, it's not complex. So it's giving guys exposure, though, because like I said, it's the multi-dimensional leader that survives no matter what contract, no matter what company. You're valuable if you can perform, you understand the entire ecosystem of how things run.
Especially if you can elucidate that, share that information, because, I've used the example a bazillion times. Like, I hired dudes whose resumes were absolute trash that would have never made it through an AI, but they became great performers because you could see that other stuff because they weren't a writer, but they were good at all these other things.
Well, and I mean, and to that effect, it's funny you're saying, the resume. I mean, let's face it, it's very, very important who you know, and to leverage your network, because you're going to get past. Young guy, he would have never got a shot at this company doing cybersecurity if I wouldn't have put in a good word for him. And and he's awesome. He's killing it. He's within within his probationary period, they're already promoting him to supervisor because he's a mature guy and he totally gets it. But his resume was working at CarMax, but he had done all this self-improvement stuff on the side. He just needed a shot. That's it.
Yeah.
So leveraging your network is massive, because it is about who you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't burn those bridges.
Yeah.
Build them. That's huge, because you get shit done with people they want to work with you. And looking back at your career, Army, MAG, Triple Canopy, NexTech, what do you think you're most proud of in that time? What did you do where you're like, I helped that guy, or I got this mission done? What was the bellwether?
I'm still married, 28 years. That's my most proud thing. But on the business side, we did some really cool stuff. I think one of the stuff are working with the Special Mission Wing in Afghanistan. That was probably, I think you could make a case that was the most successful aviation FID effort ever. And it was a special group of guys. A lot of hardcore results. It was something I won't forget.
Yeah, I'm guessing you can't really talk much about it then.
It was a unique time over there to be able to put some things together, but seeing not just what we were doing, but what the Afghans, that group of Afghans were able to do at the end of the day. I'd put them up against any line Army aviation unit. They were that good at the end of the day. And unfortunately, we got almost all those guys out of there.
That's good. Yeah, because there were some good dudes there that were trying, but
yeah,
they were outnumbered.
Yep.
So, I mean, legacy. I mean, what do you hope to leave? Not just in the business side, but on all the people that you've touched over the years. What do you want your legacy to be on that?
One thing, I want folks to, if people get too hung up about, like, oh, it's so awesome, let's keep it like this forever. It's like, nothing's going to stay the same. Just appreciate the good times you have, and keep, but you got to keep, companies have to grow. Like, it's just how it is. Like, especially unless you're a lifestyle company, where it's just you and you're the 100% owner, and you're gonna hand it off to your kid or something like that. But for me, what I'm planning to do is, because all these companies will end, or they'll pass on, or they'll grow, or they'll be bought, or whatever. But what I'm trying to do, what I want to do in the future is basically, take all these awesome folks that I've had the opportunity to work with and continue to help them elevate, to become the next executive management team. And as an investor, with my money, with the PE group that I work with, is to be what they call an operations partner for them, to help. Hey, I want to bring in this crew. I'm going to put them in this spot. We're going to highly incentivize them. We're going to invest our own money. Go.
I mean, to me, that's the military mentality of train your replacement and set them up for success.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my last question before I let you go. So if you go back 2 months before you got out, whisper something in your ear, what would you say?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I like to throw an oddball at you every now and then.
Hang on. I had about a week and a half out. I basically got put on 2 months permissive TDY to start with triple canopy, came back for a week and a half, out processed, and then deployed to Iraq. So I didn't have like a whole lot of time to think while I was trying to figure out, are we making money, when I never really had a business class. So I was I was at a disadvantage. So no, just it's going to be different, but that's okay, and just enjoy the ride.
Awesome, man. So any words you'd like to share before I let you get going back to work? Because I know you got plenty going on.
If anybody has any specific questions, I'd open it up.
Yeah, if anybody's got any more questions, fire away. Because
brutal honesty appreciated.
Oh, desired.
Yep, much easier.
JP will not put lipstick on that pig, that's for sure. Going. Awesome. Hey, JP, it's been great having you here. Thanks again, brother. Appreciate your time. If you're looking for a bridger, we got a few. Happy to send them your way.
Yeah, so, please do.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hit you up and talk to you about this stuff later, but I appreciate it, brother. Thanks again. So, JP, NexTech Solutions.